Welcome back to Player's Word. This is the second episode of the series. But today we're joined by LT varsity offensive tackle, Big Joe Tegtmeier. Joe, thank you for coming on the show today. It's great to have you. We're going to be going over some of your experience and all of that, and what it's like to be an offensive tackle. So let's kick off with it's your fourth year as an LT football player.
Yeah, when I first went out over the summer, I was basically forced to do football as a way to just meet people before the school year started, and I never really thought I'd like it, but getting to know the guys that first summer practice, and as that kept going, I kind of realized one I liked I liked playing football, and I was not too bad at it either. As the years kept going on, I was able to have more opportunities to jump up to varsity and get the feel for that, and to learn how to be a leader and lead the team. And that's another big thing I feel about football is leading these guys is another big part of why I play.
What's the training regimen like, or just the overall experience, especially during like COVID-19 and all of that going on for the football team and you personally?
So, as a tackle, you have to you have to be able to be strong and quick. So that was one main thing I had to focus on. Not if I wanted to put on weight, I would still have to focus on being able to move, because at the end of the line, you have to focus on stretching back and reaching back there and being able to control the end of the line of scrimmage. Um, Training for that is a lot of footwork, a lot of strength training, a lot of upper body stuff to be able to hold on to the guy in front of you and push him around. And you still gotta make sure your legs and your hips are still in motion through the whole 5 minutes, if that, of hitting this guy and punishing this guy as hard as you can. And that's every play for us. That's why I think lineman is probably the hardest position, is because every single play of the game you're beating on the guy across from you, no matter what. It's grueling. They call it the trenches, and I think it's a deserving name. And it takes a strong body, it takes a strong mind, and I don't think everyone can do it. And that's why I like to push the other linemen to make sure that they know that they can be there, and if they want to be there, they can stay. But if they can't take it, I let them know you either got to step up or go somewhere else, because this position it needs a strong mind.
There's a couple of times where I've watched you guys in a huddle and you just like, along with the coach, you'd be revving them up, or like you'd basically be telling them like, try your hardest, keep pushing. If you're not, or if you don't think you're pushing hard enough, keep pushing yourself. And it's just like you have this type of energy that only a leader would have. So has that affected the way you think, or the way you play, or anything else?
It has a lot to do with the way I play, because the way I play is I, I put a mentality in my mind that I cannot let this guy beat me. I cannot let this guy overpower me. That I'm, without sounding like kind of cocky or anything, like I'm stronger than this guy. I will beat this guy, and I try to get that across to other players and let them know that if you work and if you do all this, you can do the same thing. That trust yourself, know what you're doing, and it'll help you along these lines.
But what is being off the field like for being a lineman, especially someone of your experience and position?
Say a lot of off the field stuff is that a lot of people neglect is recovery, because I talk to a lot of people and ask them they're not getting enough meals and they're not getting enough food, especially in season, especially as a lineman, you have to be getting your fuel in to be able to do what we do every day. But then sitting in school, you got to have a mentality that during every class you're fighting to get on the field to continue to play. And for training, back to what I said, you gotta think, is that guy lifting more than me? Is he outperforming me right now in the weight room? That's what helps drive my workouts too. Is what is the guy next to me doing, or what is the guy across from me doing to make him think he's better than me?
And I also know that you're a man fan, world's strongest man. Um, so the way that those guys train, and I've seen a couple of your Instagram pictures of like the log press and stuff like that. So does that kind of get integrated into your training, or is that something separate, or does it help at all?
I like to take inspiration from everywhere when I train and when I make my programs. I've also had the opportunity to work out with um, two Olympians, two, three, yeah, I think two. And then my brother's coach, she's amazing. She is Coach Mary up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. She is an idol. She is one, the strongest woman I've ever seen. I think she just qualified for the American lifting team, but I've had the chance to talk with her. I've talked to other coaches and taken their experience and their advices and basically put that in my own training. See how it's worked for me and how it's worked for other people. And strongmen watching that kind of stuff, it also takes a certain mentality to be able to move that kind of weight. So when I make my workouts, I take inspiration from everywhere, and I think how how would something like that help me on the field or help me just in general?
What does the diet look like? And because I know you guys eat a ton of food, or at least you try to eat a ton of food. And there's the cliche that goes around like you guys eat like pancake platoon, stuff like that. It's just like really high calorie meals, or just, but you guys need to eat not only a lot of stuff, but you need to eat the right stuff. So could you cover kind of like on average the like your daily diet and like what you try and consume?
So it was end of sophomore year. I made it a goal for myself to put on as much weight as possible for the next season, and at that point, I was around 260, I think. So my mother's also a dietitian, so she's helped me a lot with that, and she's helped me with making these workouts and what to do to help put on not just weight. You want to put on good weight when you're doing this. So to do this, I I had to I ended up putting on 20 pounds. So I got up to 280, and that's the heaviest I've ever been. And that was a good 4, 5 months of training along with eating. And putting on that kind of weight, you have to eat something at least every hour. And you're drinking, I probably want to say I was drinking about a gallon and a half of water every day. And then meals during meals are huge. At times when I do carry out maybe every other week or something, just cheat meal esque, because you still want a good amount of calories, but putting on that kind of weight, you're lenient with what you take in. And I was eating like for Portillo's, I was eating like two beefs or like a salad and another two beefs, just ungodly amount of food. I think during that I was probably around 8,000 calories a day to put on that kind of weight. And when some other of the younger guys asked me, "Hey Joe, I wanna put on some weight for football. What can I do?" And I told them the same thing. You gotta eat every hour. This because a lot of people think, "Oh, eating's gonna be fun. I'll just put on some weight." When you're doing this kind of training and you're trying to actually put on weight, eating doesn't become as fun as you may think.
The playbook looks like it's a lot of just push the other guy down to the ground, or like keep him at bay long enough for the cornerback or the quarterback, or with the running back or anybody else to get through you, or pass the ball. Is it more than that? Or I mean, it feels like it's more than that.
It's a lot more than that. It's not just jump across and grab that guy next to you. It's when it comes down to it, it's everything has to be perfect from the positioning of your feet to it could even be if you take an inch bigger step than you need to, that could put you in the wrong position and the DN slips past you. It comes to your hip positioning. If your hips are tilted the right way, comes if you're leaning down too much, or if your chest is up, where you put your hands, where you put your head. Everything has to be perfect on the line because, again, it's a battle. You have two guys trying to beat the living crap out of each other. And when it comes down to it, you have to focus on everything all at once before you make contact and during contact.
What's the experience, or what's it like being on the field pregame with the other linemen and with everyone else on the offense and basically the entire football team? What's that like, just walking up to the field in that line, and just kind of revving up?
It's crazy because you feel the energy from everyone. They're ready to go. They're ready to hit. And I try to keep my guys calm, to keep themselves collected. That's a big thing of mine. I like them to not be jumping around and crazy, and I want them to contain that and put it, exert it into the guy across from them when they start playing. But before that first snap, man, you can feel the energy from everyone, and you're sitting there shaking, ready to go.
What would you say your favorite memory is?
My favorite memory was at our last game last year. We were down, I think it was 26-6 against Hinsdale. There was about 2 minutes left in the game. Aiden Kelly, captain last year, he walks up to me and he pulls me aside and he says, "Joe, I'm really proud of how far you've come over this year and seen you grow since freshman year. And I know, and at first I didn't know if you could take this, but seeing you play this year, I know you can. I can trust you, and I trust you with the team." And so, sorry, he gave the team to me at the end of the game and said, "This is the same thing that happened the year before when they went 1-8. He said, "Sean Rickman pulled me aside. He said, "Kelly, I can trust you with this team now. It's yours to lead." And same thing. It's the same thing Kelly said to me. And I hope there's a season, because I do intend to leave everything I have and to push every single person on the LT football team to leave everything they have out there. Not just for us, because I want to play to leave a name. I don't want to be that LT team that, "Oh, we're playing LT this week. That's easy game."
Whether it be team bonding or the practices or post game, on the bus and like celebrating a win, stuff like that. Like, what would you say like really brought you guys together over the years?
Yeah, stuff like that. That's really important on a team, and especially as linemen, because you working as just five guys on the field, working to basically protect everyone else on the field. And it's got to come down, because if you don't trust the guy next to you, you might try to do their job for them, and therefore you're not doing yours. And you have to trust the guy next to you that he's going to get it done as good as you are. And doing that, I one of my big things is no fights. Not even just yelling at the guy, because if you start fighting, you lose trust in him, you get angry, and then one of my big things is a lot of people get angry and then they'll lose what they're doing, and they won't play as good as they can. So I try to keep everyone calm and collected. Stuff like that is basically just when you're beating the crap out of each other during practice, it just brings you together. There's just that much to it.
All right. Thanks, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out the previous episode, which probably won't be as awesome because it was the pilot episode. And for everyone out there, social media links in the description. Also, loyalfitness.com, if you use my code, which is up there, percentage of all purchases will go towards UNICEF and 25 to 50% of everything that I bring in will be going towards the Wounded Warrior Project. Peace out.